Welcome to Business Talk, our weekly University of Rio Grande OSU South Center's podcast show. We are here at the University of Rio Grande's TV studio. Not only are we doing live internet radio through Blog Talk Radio, but we are also live on Jackson Educational Access Channel, Channel 17, University of Rio Grande. The podcasts are archived and placed on YouTube for viewing and listening again and again. Our mission is simple: to promote the University of Rio Grande and its diverse educational programs, to promote the Ohio State University and its many business technology programs, promote the various small business and economic support organizations, and finally promote Southern Ohio, a great place to live, learn, and enjoy life to the fullest. The co-hosts are myself, Jason Winters, Director of the Center for Small Business Entrepreneurship, and Mike Thompson, Instructional Design and Media Services Director, both with the University of Rio Grande. Also with us today is Patrick Dengel, Business Development Specialist, and not joining us in the studio today is Kimberly Rouse, Program Assistant with both the Ohio State University South Centers. We also have two students here at the university that could not be with us today. We have Nate Walzer, MBA student, who is on assignment. I believe he is down in Alabama, supposedly coaching soccer.
I believe so.
And then we also have Justin Dugan, and I believe he could not get off his other work activities that were scheduled at this new time.
I know. Can you imagine missing a podcast and going to work and earning money?
I mean, after all, what you pay him? Wow, goodness gracious.
So, Jason, are you enjoying life to the fullest? Because it seems like you're pretty full of it.
You know, today I am. Actually, we'll let Pat talk about that a little bit. Pat, why don't you introduce our special guest today?
I would be very glad. Back in, I believe it was May, our paths crossed. My path crossed with Lesley Postle. Lesley is a recruiter with State Farm Insurance, in which we started talking about a variety of different areas. And I said, you know, Lesley, you have a lot of knowledge and a lot of wisdom on the do's and don'ts of what students need to know about in regards to jobs and positions. How about if you would be willing to come on to our podcast show? She looked at her schedule and said, well, Pat, October would probably work for me. And so finally we have Lesley. State Farm Insurance is a highly respected and successful professional business that can provide opportunities for students, business professionals alike. Here at the University of Rio Grande, we have a number of different business students, both undergraduate and graduate. And Lesley is always available, as she is a recruiter for State Farm Insurance, to talk about are there some opportunities available at State Farm. And so she's going to be discussing a number of different key points. Lesley, fantastic that you're here. Thank you for being able to come and talk with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So Lesley, why don't you start by just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure.
You've heard an awful lot about Pat and I, and Pat took you to lunch, so I'm sure you've heard enough about him. So why don't you just go ahead and share about yourself?
Sure. Thank you for having me. My name is Lesley Postle. I work as a State Farm agency recruiter. Have been with the company now for about 7.5 years. Grew up in the Columbus area. I'm based out of the Columbus area, and right now, at least, I'm recruiting for agency opportunities in Northwest, Central, and Southeast Ohio, in addition to Cleveland, but we have opportunities all over the state and all over the country, and I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit more. But basically, my background, went to school at Ohio University and obtained a degree in psychology. Started after college recruiting for a staffing agency, more entry-level kind of warehouse, clerical, construction worker. Just kind of got my feet wet a little bit with interviewing and recruiting for about 1.5 years out of school, and then have been with State Farm in this recruiting role since then. So have had kind of different experiences with different types of backgrounds and different types of interview processes where basically with the staffing agency, it was a quick 5-minute interview and we placed people in jobs within hours. And with State Farm and the agency opportunity, it's looking for someone kind of at a different caliber of background, different experiences, and takes months before we actually get someone into the training program and kind of make that transition. So we'll be happy to share, anything about recruiting experiences that I've had and kind of what we look for in agency opportunities. Can kind of share some different things too about other internal type opportunities that we might have available within the company as well.
I don't know if you know this or not, but my very first job, and this was back in the 1970s. I thought you guys were going to say I was from the 1930s.
Back in '09.
'09. But my first job was insurance, and it's rather interesting on that insurance. They gave you a speech, they told you what to do, and then they said, "There's the door. Come back when you make sales."
Sort of like the vacuum cleaner salesman of the time.
Yes, I was. I was the insurance vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
And I did okay, but one of the things that was missing was the support, the mentorship. And as you were discussing earlier at lunch, State Farm Insurance tries to, first of all, I believe, look for the right candidate, and number two, give them a lot of support.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have basically what we're doing right now in Ohio is we're trying to set our agents up where you're basically going into business for yourself but not by yourself. And we want to kind of help them get started where we're just replacing the agents at this point that are functioning as independent contractors whose sole purpose is to market and advertise State Farm products and services. And they're functioning in a small business opportunity in every way that you can think other than State Farm actually owns the book of business itself. So we're kind of identifying candidates more so based off of skills, characteristics, competencies that we've seen in past successful agents. So just things like, having the passion to want to, help people and get involved in the community and being competitive and just kind of being that natural leader. That can come from any different background. We don't specifically recruit to those who only have insurance and financial services backgrounds. We've had a lot of people from, banking backgrounds or mortgage backgrounds or teachers, coaches. Those characteristics can come from any different place. And then once we've identified someone who has those characteristics, we take everyone through a paid 7 to 9 month training program to get all of the things that we can teach and train. The licensing, the product training, the sales systems, everything you kind of need to actually run the business. And then once that person's through the training, that existing book of business that the retiring agent in most cases is passing along is just assigned to that new agent. So they are collecting that income to help with rent and utilities and everything else that you can kind of think of with any business opportunity. In addition to signing bonuses, we have $30,000 in signing bonuses that we provide to our new agents. But just other than the financial support, there is so much developmental support in these situations as well, with continuing education and co-op marketing programs and team member development to help them grow their teams and get them licensed and specialized in different aspects. Just different local community activities that they can get involved in. So there's a lot of support, and we do have about an 80 to 85% retention rate with our new agents. That really is kind of very high for the industry, very high for entrepreneurial opportunities. It's usually between about 10 to 15%. So a lot of company support, because we are such a big company that can kind of offer that to the new agents.
So does the new agent own the location, or does State Farm own the location and they pay the rent, or what?
The only thing that State Farm actually owns that's assigned to the agent is the book of business itself. So if the agent that's retiring is located at 1 East Main Street, that actual location is that agent's. They may lease that building, they may own that building. If the new agent comes in and they want to move to 1 West Main Street, they can move the actual location of that, okay, and they're responsible for the rent and utilities and staffing and all that.
So how many agents are in one location?
It really just varies with how many are in each location. We have, I think, over 17,000 agents right now across the country. Every location is different, and we really take a look when we have new agents being added, when we have agents that are retiring, at different things like addressable vehicles, penetration, surrounding competition, and we kind of say what's going on in this specific area. If we have a book of business where there's an agent retiring, where maybe that area has just kind of died down a little bit, we won't replace that agent if there's not enough business to sustain a long-term opportunity. Same thing with adding new businesses. If there's a new Walmart going up the street, doesn't necessarily mean we need to add a new agent, but we're going to look at all of those factors as they come into play. And as independent contractors, those agents that actually have storefronts can be as active or inactive as they want, so that kind of comes into play too.
So how does the State Farm business model set up? Let's just say Pat wants to reactivate his license and he has a book of business right downtown Rio Grande. Can he hire other agents to work for him and sell State Farm products, or is it only Pat in that location? Sure.
So it's very flexible with how you set up your office. We don't have one specific business model that all of our agents have to follow. The terminology will vary quite a bit really from company to company in regards to what we consider an agent. A State Farm agent for us is the person who's functioning as the independent contractor whose name is out front on the sign. If Pat had a book of business and at first maybe hired on 2 employees, as he continues to grow, he may want to add a customer service retention specialist or a bank specialist. We want you to have good, solid salespeople in your office. You're not going to be the only one in a sales role as a new agent. You need good licensed people that are there to help you. We have some agents that have 2 employees. We have others that have 10 employees, and they can set up their offices however they want, depending on what that business model and that growth plan looks like.
So do they contact you to get those people, or do they hire them themselves?
They completely are their own recruiting. We may have someone every once in a while who maybe isn't financially ready to become an agent themselves. We do typically recommend that they at least have access to some funds to kind of help them when they're first getting started. So if we have someone who maybe that becoming an agent is their eventual goal, but they're not ready at this point, that might be a great opportunity for them to go work for an agent, which might be a great opportunity for some of the students, as they transition into the workforce. But technically, it's up to them to figure out, do I want to find someone who's already licensed? Do I want to, maybe I get great service at Bob Evans from a server and just kind of give them my business card and say, hey, if you're ever looking for an opportunity, my business is down the road and I'd be interested in looking into hiring. So their processes really vary per agent.
Okay, so we've had a tough economy. I'm out of work. How do I start getting involved or expressing interest in being an agent?
Sure. A couple things with that. Number one, a person who is kind of looking for a job that needs a paycheck, this probably isn't the opportunity for them. So we do a lot of our recruiting through different sources like LinkedIn, where we can contact people and be a little bit more selective of the type of background they're coming from. But really our perfect candidate is someone who, for the most part, is happy and successful with what they're currently doing, but maybe just looking for a little bit more.
So you're looking to steal employees.
Exactly. We came here, we're trying to recruit all of you right now. So, we're looking for someone maybe who travels a lot with what they do, and maybe they just want to be home more. Or maybe someone who's in some sort of sales role, but they don't have that unlimited income potential. Or they just want to be able to make their own decisions on, having their name out front on the sign, but also having the luxury of the industry leader as a brand to kind of back them up. So we have had people who are looking for a job and have kind of moved forward, but from the very beginning of our process to the point where someone would actually be taking over an agency takes about 12 months. So usually people can't kind of wait, that amount of time before they see any income.
So as a recruiter, are you asking people to become part of the team, or are people finding you, or both?
A little bit of both. Like I said, we use a lot of different kind of external sources like LinkedIn, different networking events. We also ask agents for referrals. If they have policy holders, obviously the agents are the ones that are out there doing it on a day-to-day basis. So, their policy holders get to see kind of what that looks like and usually have experiences that they can relate to that. So we have kind of a combination of people who naturally maybe go to our website, check out some information, and you want to take a look. So a little bit of both with that, but typically it is someone who is currently full-time full-time working. Our process is done very virtually, where we do an online assessment, a quick background check. We give them access to all of kind of the nuts and bolts of the opportunity with the compensation piece of things. We have them eventually put together a business plan as part of their interview. So it's done in the evenings or on the weekends, whenever they can kind of get to it. And then once we've kind of taken a look at that information, we place them in what we consider the approved candidate pool, where at that point they can start looking at openings really across the country that we have available and move forward when the timing's right for them. And then that's then when we would hire them into the training.
So State Farm carries a lot of different lines of insurance. So do you require your agents to be licensed in all forms of insurance?
Everything that we have at this point over 100 different products that what our agents can offer, and everything that we offer kind of falls under the main umbrellas of auto, fire, life, health, mutual funds, and bank. So we do require that they have their auto and fire license or property and casualty license, life and health, and Series 6. That, at least in Ohio, the state lines kind of determine what licenses we require, but that is built into our training program. That 7 to 9 months of training, that kind of 2 month period in between there is for someone, to get the licenses. So we pay them basically 2 weeks per license they don't have at that point.
So do you peruse the resumes on LinkedIn and that sort of thing? Mm-hmm. Okay, so
yeah.
In a resume, what's going to catch your eye?
Sure. So a lot of different sources that we use, either through LinkedIn or we post ads out on Career Builder Monster. You'll see those out there. If you just go to really any part of Ohio and type in State Farm agent in this area, you'll see a pretty general ad. We get a lot of resumes from that. Again, it's hard for us to say this is exactly what we're looking for, since we don't have one specific perfect person that we're looking for, but usually looking for someone that has some sort of leadership experience. It could be someone who has a managerial role or supervisor role on their resume. It could be someone who's been, again, like I said earlier, we've sent letters to teachers and coaches. Those are obviously leaders in the community, leaders in schools and with students. Sometimes the toughest leaders, I think. Or it could just be through sports or different organizations, maybe Greek life. It could be through, a chamber organization, things like that. So any sort of leadership, volunteer kind of things we look for. That's a lot of what our agents do, is community, and obviously leading the team within their own agencies.
It's networking and sales.
Absolutely. It's talking to people. It's getting in front of people. So those types of things usually lend well to those types of backgrounds. And then, ultimately it's a sales job. Again, it's relationship building. It's getting in front of people. A lot of times the brand and the product will sell itself, but you still have to have people in front of you to talk to. So having some sort of sales background, that shows us competitive spirit. Someone who isn't going to kind of wait around and say, what's my to-do list today? You're creating work for yourself. So someone's going to take the initiative to be self-motivated to kind of create what that income's going to look like for them. So it's more kind of what we can pull from maybe different backgrounds that we've seen versus this is the company that I'm looking to recruit from, or this is the title that I'm looking to look at there. Resumes that are submitted are a different story. Sorry. As
far as the way the job works, you're not looking for people like what Pat did, the door-to-door salesman, right?
Right. It's not something that you can kind of do on the side. It's a full-time plus position. Plus,
you are an agent all the time.
You're an agent, yeah. It's we kind of talked about that before, where some of these opportunities that are out there on the job boards will make it sound like it's the easiest thing you've ever done. You're going to be making millions your first couple years. You can kind of do it here and there whenever you want.
Oh, that's
why sign up, right? Yeah. With these opportunities, you have that existing business that's there where you have customer service, but there are a lot of different things today, these days, with direct mail and just different marketing and advertising ways versus kind of just the cold calling or door to door that some agents will still do, but there are a lot of other different sources for that.
It's very similar to a franchise opportunity. I mean, it's your business. You got to run it. If you're not there, you're not going to sell much.
Yep, absolutely.
So were you getting to the resume and what?
Yeah.
You looked over the resume. You know what you're looking for. Is there anything that makes one pop better than the other one?
Well, and maybe that could kind of go both ways too, with which ones look good and which ones don't necessarily look good, but especially the resumes that will come to us, the people that we post an ad maybe out on whatever, LinkedIn or Career Builder, and someone will send a resume basically saying, I'm interested in learning a little bit more. We would hope at that point, once we contact them, that they have done some bit of research on what this looks like. We'll contact people and say, hey, this is State Farm Agency. We're calling, and they're like, who, what?
I just sent out 100 resumes.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people are doing that these days. But so maybe just kind of do a little bit of research on the opportunity before you just kind of post your resume to any opening that's out there. But different things like even though cover letters honestly aren't something that I totally read all the way through, but if you personalize it a little bit, if you know the person's name that you're sending it to. I think my name's out on those ads. Put my name on it. Not Stacy or somebody else that you may have sent it to.
Leslie or Ms. Postle?
To me, honestly, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me with regards to that. It may to other people, but for me, it really doesn't matter. But too, we'll see resumes that will still have maybe a cover letter that was sent to another company. So just to or it'll say State Farmers or something like that. Where it's not quite the right company there. Professional email addresses. We've seen all different types of entirely inappropriate email addresses that people have on their resumes, and just to keep it short, I like to see, because this is so much of a sales role, instead of I worked at State Farm as an agency recruiter and here was my job description as an agency recruiter, to say I worked at State Farm as an agency recruiter within maybe 2011 I recruited X number of agents, this was the percentage of growth. We want to see kind of statistics of what you did in some sort of sales role. We can look it up online to see what the actual job description was, or we could hear that once we finally talk to you, but to kind of have that bulleted out helps me a ton, just to kind of flip through people that are just giving me descriptions of companies and things like that. So those are some of the first things I look for. Or people will post their resumes to different job boards, or will post their interest, but will say resume available upon request. I'm not going to waste my time contacting you when I have no idea what that resume is going to look like. So post the resume. If it looks good, we'll contact you.
And what about references? I've always wanted to know, should we give references inside a resume, or should we say references upon?
Yeah, I think that probably varies per company and per opportunity. For me, at my point, with our steps in our recruiting process, I'm not the one to contact them anyways. It kind of comes further along, but it probably doesn't hurt to have them right then, right there, as long as you let the references know in advance that people will be contacting them. I know a lot of companies, especially these days, though, unless it was kind of a small business opportunity, there's kind of a work number that you call, and they basically verify addresses and things like that. But for personal references, just kind of let them know, and if we do contact them at some point, it probably wouldn't hurt just to have them. And
what is the best reference? What would you recommend to be a really good reference?
And you're speaking more kind of personal, professional. I guess that too depends on just where you are in your stage of your kind of looking for a job. If you're just coming out of college, maybe a professor or a career counselor, or if you had kind of a part-time job, even just someone that you worked with, maybe that wasn't necessarily your boss or supervisor.
My favorite bartender.
Your favorite bartender would be perfect. Yeah,
Mom's always a good one there too.
Yeah. That probably best. Even friends probably wouldn't be the best thing to do there. But as you do get a little bit further in your career too, a lot of people have kind of mentors and coaches that they've used throughout their career, or different people maybe within business networks. Again, if you're involved in different professional organizations, I think a lot of those that are kind of outside of your typical bosses and professional within your industry maybe would be good to have too.
Mike, your probation officer would be good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should you have more of a begging kind of letter? By that I mean, I need this job really bad. Please consider me.
Yeah. Again, we don't prefer that type of person. We're looking for someone. It's more of kind of a process for us. So it does take a while. You do have to be patient with it. Like I said before, we only have 2 recruiters right now for the state of Ohio. So when people are contacting us, we try to get back to them as soon as possible. We do look for consistency and follow up with people, but someone who calls nonstop and I see their phone number keep showing up on my cell phone, but they don't leave a message, I'll wait a little bit longer to call them back. it's different things like that. Be persistent, be consistent, but be respectful of what else is going on too. And again, if it's something where you're begging and saying, basically, I'll take whatever I can get, that's not making you as a candidate sound like someone we would want to invest our time with.
And you probably want to change, if you're looking for work, maybe, if you've got a funny answering thing on your cell phone. Hey, it's Thompson's mortuary. You stab him, we slab him.
Hey,
Yeah.
don't be knocking the funeral industry now. It's been good to me.
Yeah, that is a good point.
That is a good point. Ringbacks, don't have your basic shoot 'em up rap song, on your ringback tone. We have people that, again, will have their resumes out there and will answer the phone and just be like, what? Just know that your resume is out there. People are going to be contacting you. That does not look good when you're answering the phone and acting like I'm a telemarketer calling you, asking for you, if I don't know how to pronounce your name. But the ringbacks, the voicemails, anything that you can kind of think of from an outsider's view that would be contacting you is always something to kind of check on and professionalize.
Do you stalk people on Facebook?
I do not, but I have heard companies do.
Okay.
They do what?
They're stalking them on Facebook. Well, we're interested in this person. Let's search their name and see what we come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the resume. I know where they graduated high school. It's usually listed so it can be narrowed down fairly quickly.
Yeah.
And, you got...
Well, that's not a bad
You're
thing.
doing a keg stand or something on your pictures.
I have heard a lot, and we just, the only reason we don't right now is because we don't have a Facebook account through our department, but it's coming very soon. So I have heard companies that will, sometimes use that kind of as a selection tool to see what, especially in an opportunity like this where we're recruiting agents that are going to be out there representing State Farm.
Absolutely.
So, if it's something where you, again, are being inappropriate through whatever possible way you could,
So
it's going to be out there for all to see.
On my motorcycle going down the road?
I believe their slogan is "like a good neighbor,"
Yeah.
not like a bad neighbor.
Like a reckless neighbor. Yeah.
So, Lesley, you mentioned you are one of 2 recruiters in the state.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a certain territory of the state, or how do they get a hold of you? Or if there's someone is listening to us from outside of our area, would they contact you or would they contact someone else?
Yeah. Probably the easiest way just to get a hold of any of our recruiters, because, like I said, we are kind of in transition. We usually have 3 recruiters. You can just go to statefarm.com/careers. There'll kind of be a split screen there where there'll be some information on more of the internal operations, kind of claims, underwriting type positions, and then the other side will be about State Farm Agency, where it'll eventually lead you to any of the recruiters in our state. But we also have microsites. If you were to want to come directly to me and get my contact information, it's just www.lesley.sf for State Farm agentcareers.com. So that's my microsite. Again, you can get to us through the statefarm.com and contact any of the recruiters really across the country through that.
We have about 2 minutes.
Right.
Oh, thanks.
And what have we not asked that you wish we would have asked? And then you can have your 26 amusing stories.
Yeah, I didn't have time for all my hilarious stories. I mean, really, with these opportunities, and I appreciate the questions about the State Farm Agency opportunity and just kind of some of the things that we look for. We have a lot of agents right now that are getting to retirement age, and we're going to have a lot of openings, if not this year, within the next 5 years, definitely. This isn't for everyone. We realize this isn't the best timing or the best fit for everyone, but it can be a great fit for the right person at the right time. It's not the only opportunity that we have at State Farm. Like I said earlier, we have a lot of agents that are looking to hire employees to work in their offices, maybe get some sales experience, get some experience in the industry, and then, 2 years down the road, 5 years, 10 years down the road, maybe, would be a better time to come in and take a look at the State Farm Agency opportunity for themselves. We also have the Operations Center, where we do have more of the internal claims underwriting type opportunities, and we have those across the country as well. If none of those are for you, at least today you've heard a little bit more about the opportunity. Like I said before, I recruit for Northwest, Central, Southeast Ohio, and Cleveland right now. You may know of some people in those areas that, are kind of in that position where they're a little bit disturbable right now, kind of looking for, not necessarily looking, but open to looking at new opportunities. And really we have openings across the state in every market that I recruit for. So, feel free to contact me if you have any other questions, if it's something that of someone that would be interested. And again, I just appreciate you all having me in. This has been fun, and it's been a good day here. This is my first time here on campus, so it's been a good day, and I appreciate it.
Well, we hope that it'll be many, many days. There is one final question that
Yes.
and it really depends upon your career. Who is the best football team in Ohio?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I went to OU.
Steelers when they come to play.
Yeah, I went to OU, saying the Bobcats have been doing all right, but I'll say the Buckeyes. I'm close
great.
to Columbus now, so
And that's
yeah.
unsolicited?
Yeah, that's unsolicited. Family's gone there. I'm the only Bobcat in the family, so I'll say the Buckeyes.
Okay. And how are the Bobcats doing?
Apparently, they're doing all right. I haven't really been tracking them so much because I didn't even when I was in school there, but my dad
You
says
were
they're
studying.
doing well.
I do believe they are still undefeated. Is
Yeah.
that right, Mike?
Is that right?
I have no
No one
clue.
knows.
Shame on you, Mike.
I'm a fan of no one.
Well, Lesley, it was great having you here, and we hope that you will come back. It is an opportunity for many individuals if they want a stable career, and if they have the willingness to own a franchise, sort of say, if they have a willingness to do money, marketing, and management, and put full attention, I truly believe it's a career that they will stay with for the rest of their life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I'm Patrick.
I'm Jason.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Lesley.
Thanks for watching.